Yama ahwefo nyina akwaba abusuafo Nyankopɔ nhyira obi bia. Ivan Kyei Innocent a political analyst stroke activist was setting the record straight. Nina a cocoa board Ghana government and Dr. Randy Abbey versus the finance minister Ato Forson Kese abusia ensema ekoso aye no namso ama 3 months bosome parapal miensa Ghana akuafo binum sa entimin kan musika abusia emu awrem Ivan Kyei Innocent asset the record straight yefiri honom na yeko scholarship secretariat scholarship ni na ensema NPP former CEO Owura Ofosu Nkansah odikotu edwa ewo Sumpa TV Sumpa FM ochiremu ankofo etua about 100,000 Ghana cedis over that and omode je foreign scholarship wey na BNI na before eto om nsafre no so onye den ombra no mechichiremu abusua owura ya nya anu yie papa bia enei omo prepare no edna kwakugina court I think so on the 13th of as a name yes Ivan Kyei Innocent actually na adwen e wo saase mu ochina Friday abusanfo and the last one Baba Jamal NPP probe committee no den clear off so betimi a contest ayawa so east by election no ebi ehon nsam de ayede jawo krum ha enye na yinim de eko mesra so document betum na wa like this video na wa share na foforo enye bia hwe beko de kwakoti ensani bi na yekoba de akabia no de beto aso Ivan Kyei Innocent eko obaya atiti ni show so my CTV GH Ghana nkoso dwumadi and all this answer we ekoto dwa yenti ensani bi yekoba beto aso
the device so isi ya che
and then mama mo share
yes yeah I think say debia ya nuguso AYEKA we are not just speaking keke we are kasaseba ya democracy ne betimi advance to a level comparatively ne betimi dey ahototo the most advanced countries among for sure as a beacon of democracy there is no perfect democracy anywhere, but you see, you must always have something in sight. Try to compare yourself to and a shape your perspective and how as we go about things. And I think that it is in that light and Ghana for over the years, he has strived just to ensure that your democracy will gel in a very positive light. Also inspire other countries almost be free. Over the years, there are a creepy into our political system. This monetized culture, the culture of monetization, are creepy deeper into your politics. And sadly, way is so dangerous to the extent say, I take it away individuals and ordinary, about the intellectual, the might to be able to help us navigate the challenges our political space. But because these people don't have the financial muscle to be able to pay delegates and maybe bribe everybody around the very often they shy away. The last time I had a conversation with a friend who is a professor and I was asking her, say, Prof, now Makwatran politics, I'm for running the show, I'm not changing. I said, Sikana Mode, a copy MP, and I said, for no, Nakati, a kabum krana. Exactly. So that tells you, say, sitting on the sidelines, this is how they perceive, say, answer a bit to be MP, and never rises to a certain leadership position. You might have paid your way through. And for me, that is very unfortunate. So over the years, your politics in your to walk away from that. And then this thing happened. Your friend is saying, Ayawaso, and I think that it was very shameful, very embarrassing, and very despicable. I will be aware so much interested in the democracy and the progress. I am not sure that any normal person will seek to justify that sort of embarrassment that happened there. But you see, what happened wasn't an isolation. Happened before a week before we witnessed similar incident in the NPP. Kwabrani the lab say I do trim sika ni nyamae but I champ on top up ni nyamae like really
no we like we so amonto
yes delegate ni so amonto aba because I champ on top up nyamae I do trim sika IS or beto so nyamae and these things were captured on camera. So you see, sometimes we are very hypocritical in our approach. Yes, it's good. Baba Jama issue has come. There have been instances of Kwabranishon bicycle in the NPP. Your friends, previous year election, no sir. Omocha ma say on better buses ama. Constituency na for the day no na yashada akoyi buses as sunlight. These are all processes are inducing vote, and these are criminal practices in terms of your elections and as for them. But I think say over the years, you know, you ain't taking any decisive action. I kept some of these things, and I bet something normal. And the now delegate when money is come to about mouth. And it's like a normal phenomenon, part of our politics. You seek to normalize it, and it will be a 4 lines. Two me a man for a free. Obaka just say, "Na baba jaman kwana yes adi enubi." You see, it's just a culture that has been normalized. It's a crime, but in their mind, you know, a CDBR. So why will you single out somebody and penalize that particular person? And I think say you shall am free baby so you baby. And for me, what happened? You see. The Baba Jama ne Ayawaso incident near so despicable and very way up. And I'm sure say in the mind of the president or issue that statement. It wasn't about just a man for Eko Uradamu edit TV APA. A man for Eko Uradamu Dimoto APA. And we all saw it in Nasafono. But the interview that he granted, that was the last nail to the coffin. Because I'm a president. After listening to that interview, I'll sack you. What I say? He could have avoided that particular interview. So I think that sometimes the political maturity is also very important, because this is somebody who has been around for a very long time. Baba Jama Shah said MP, maybe a primary school. He has been around. So when it comes to experience, you should be that rich in experience. But to seek to justify, media no catch us say, yeah, who's a man for a TV say, oh, me cha dia dada. Na your friend say, yeah, mo be a dia in the mind, you are justifying. And right, also admitting say you did it. It could happen say anyone aware be a people around no be na and but the very moment you grant an interview in the full public glare and make such an admonition, you know, the president, you put the president in a very tight corner. Because this is a president who has promised zero tolerance in terms of corruption. I try to curb some of these things. And in making such admonition in an interview, you know, the president, even though has not conducted any, your friend is a preliminary investigation, because the principles of natural justice, answer about punish you, you must first hear from the person. So ordinary, the president should have constituted a bit of an investigation to be able, but for you to conduct that particular interview, you know, the president didn't need to do any preliminary way. Obviously, you know, that words are tired, I impugn the integrity of the establishment. And as a president, I have every right to base into a more say, I didn't think the president the president ain't because he granted an interview sought to justify, and on that basis, you know, impugn the credibility of governance. As a president, he was justified in his decision to call him. Then the party, I think that the NDC as a political party did very well, because with their sharp response from your friend said the general secretary. What is the NPP Kwete? I think he's doing well, because you see, sometimes you have to be very decisive and see set party back elections. Now such embarrassing thing will happen, and then the political party will issue a statement condemning even before and the opponent and other people issue statement. Then you have the majority caucus in parliament also issuing statement. These are statements of condemnation, condemning not in the opposite side of the political divide, their own party. For me, it's a boost. Me who's out there, and honestly, I was very happy, because I think that we are gradually advancing. Bedroom baby, because ordinary who am for so bicycle, I'm for so TV, a bit so fridge in them chrome. Now say when the mommy, where the mommy. Apart from say commentators who sit on TV, seek to condemn some of these things, you know, you will never hear a political party issue a statement and even asking say the whole election should be nullified. So I think say when you listen to some of these things, you know, it gives you a certain impression say politics 2020. Politics 2024 is different from where we are, because the political party NDC and the people around the presidency do admit say Ghanaians have become very conscious. They are tracking issues of politics. So where there is inaction, you know, that will go against you. So you must always be in touch with the people, whatever they expect you to do, no, you do and do it right. Yes, the party says they've cleared him. Then as a forum, ordinary people would have expected a deeper investigation could have, extended to establish what the real facts are, and that is a bit of disappointment to a lot of people. And I think that disappointment is also justified because Sawaka say elections, over investigation, thereby and stop investigation. They may have their own reasons, but I think that the starting point and how they've gone about it and how the presidency are dropping hammer. Because I was on Facebook and I wrote after the interview, the hammer must fall. I think that 30 minutes after that particular write-up, then the statement came out from the presidency. And I think that it was good because president needed, in here some investigation. Every amount for your friend is an interview na Papa Jama Granty and Nyadajina T, not T and some now kind of. Now, besides, said this person hold a very revered position or ambassador. All can same way, Sansem no, if I need beja abayno. Because after that statement, you cannot justify it. Senka one yes, interview na. Now say other people chair. Your friend is a motor.
But Obia Granty interview.
Obia say oh yeah way. And that people, the only way you can fit. Matisa among for say I didn't tell the president and punish you more. Those people at this level, even though they said, but it remains an allegation because none of them has admitted. And you cannot punish somebody to only way to punish those people a investigation maybe a bind by then you bring in those people so also chair moto also chair way. But this is a clear admission, somebody holding a higher position making a clear admission say when I'm a child the other I say that's why I found that or my loans. This is not a platform to be saying this thing. Now Papa man for you understand? So I think it was very nasty, very, very, very nasty and highly condemnable. And I am happy say across the political divide, Obia who say Sadia way condemnable. But we should not also forget to say Nensenya the CCA, it's all part of this. Because I'm for the line when I do Kim Sikama and when Sikama, I'm for a chef free dinner. So I think that the special prosecutor must be up and doing. The reactionary approach in here very nauseating. And some me buy a man for a simian so at him, many crow for a way, and then I say for them, Sanyama way, the special prosecutor should have even acted fast even before the presidency and the party. You understand? But this knee-jerking reaction, this reactionary approach, Abari a man for TSM, no, I say an institution that is shopping attention. Sabaya Yanso Mbobo deal with him CNC ABB. Yeti Kromai. Sayenche moto yenche bicycle special special prosecutor Hana prosecuting Okroma. So institution Nkasa won't lack credibility. So I think that they should move from this fooling kind of approach where issues come in and they come in so that the media will capture them and then the end they go to sleep. So investigation on saying. Because if the NDC as a political party has decided, say, on to us, as an entity political party, they are entitled to that. Because any state entity, even though it's a public kind of way, but as a state entity, that is the special prosecutor. And I would say, NDC say on your investigation. Now, go continue and do. And then what would the lie? So what did you do at the time? Because all back NDC there, no free man for backlash, Then quickly he went back and said, NPP so the idea who said NPP to about 1 week in here. Why didn't you act and notify the public? You see, so I think that the inaction is becoming too much, and I think that it's highly condemnable. And the president's decision is very decisive. And for me, if I were the president, after listening to that particular interview, I would have done the same too. So I think I commend the president for that decisive action and decision will take here. That is the kind of leadership we need going forward. You see, we don't need to take any prisoners. You see, and we don't. The mere fact our sacking doesn't mean so no personal beef. Maybe a president number sakewa. I will even come to your house. Me no, you don't know my bedding come. We are not pamo. It's as simple as that. No. You see, in governance, you don't create enmity in as a forum. Me sakewa doesn't mean say. Your friend said that is the end of you because Baba Jama is a very experienced politician who has been around, who have played quite diverse role in the NDC up to the election. He did a lot of stuff, you understand? So even though you sack the person, but you don't create that bad blood. I'll come to your home and I know matter follows with the agree. I'm catch hey, my pamo and say you can't do anything about it. It's as simple as that.
Divine. I was East.
You me that's it. Naminchia wanga sabiu. Naminchia Ivan and so. Naminchia ashefo na etifo mutie nka no pay, especially emebusuafo a omo Ewutu Senior West. Omusi omo show pa se wonya we dia yi bojase for oko Ewutu Breku Senior of Anko bontrase for an important one no I resunu the account no nyina so mo hwe
yeah da o mase
omo feel fire and so omo say ma me no o tija rough ntino
yeah your mind
we asem we won me broso bebre Ivan Kyei nyina na unim saadie asiwo ayawaso east sa primary NDC primary CSC no ene de senia ehu wo camera so yehu videos a eto apete a yehu say inducement bi ekoso nkrofo bribe nkrofo ye niam omo betumi edia enya votes from delegates no. Let's not sit here and play the ostrich and pretend they say it has become part of us. It rather exposes young Ghana for Nankasa see the case study Baba Jama headline but the truth is that as some way see the fufuro ba obi breaking news yes you asembia TV da now unim the enti am picking from the cultural and then attitudinal angle no yan kasa Ghana for minim die eba ya kwa ba bedu sampempen so we yan kasa ne boy en ho abro ye en ho se hwe dia ya ba ko pa ne say yesi e ko election sabi o hwe constitution ni mu a define nipa obetumi a contest sabi so bia we adwin wo ni trim obi a sound mind obi a sabi onim de also sabi like unim ya specify ni ama no. So you ask yourselves about what it's about ideas, it's about the obetumi aye competence any de keka ho meanwhile no say ye kwakoto aba then you ask yourself say akwakwa say to the highest bidder the ono ni sikamu eduro no na ye di ahye ne nsa say wo abrantie wo na wotu adodo no a enti no wo no kone kodi ani men fa on results a ode be maye and sa adi we creepier brewia and utie delegates for no a even across board just a presidential primary say NPP mu esi here any there esi here ewo NDC dey mu clearly no ade ba ko mo kan say ye dey agi sika sisi here because omo kwa omo nkai the truth is that minim ni pod share yen timemu for no say politician be the worker say okwa one ombe fidi one opa okoko onto ma. See when you go to places omo ye adwuma MPs CEOs politicians are ye create here ya any appointment ye hwi kra if you show kra obekwa kogina ni mo na nkrofo otwen and sadie na kwakwa eti say wo de muka mo fa musika mba ye ji musika ye ji sika
ipa no so wan ma na eti say wutiri
mo den won na edi pressure to nkrofo so na obi aze wo mo ntua yeka so ama pressure aba beto obi aso ye yankasa na yeto aba na omo so ayeto omo so aba na nkasa no pressure aba beto obi aso but for me solution ni hear me say the political parties na nkasa must come together must agree say no ade way this is not the way to go and na yen sa ade abe kanka ya ay councilors ya ededa yekom ya ha yen nyina yen agree say no this is not the way to go because if you go to other jurisdictions amount for no mom contribute to the politician contest because omo believe in ideas but here no I had the other way around akwa say politician na say oba no ni obi bedi nkomo and the kind of leaders are electing so reflective of kasa amount for no say ye niama sometimes you ask yourself say obi how to me obi pa ya to aba there's one gentleman be no contested for assemblyman minimum na esi so a yenyi ye mami minimum so oyobi a o on kanokre he lacks integrity no credibility onye truthful dishonest very disingenuous individual and obo honum unim se mi angasa me to see me so ekọ area mu wo se no onye me tanfo me ntan no but sa position we akwa we nya boni odi bedi no me koye campaign atia no amanfo ne so wasem na kan here yeti me na delay at the SRC student level and I know what this guy can do. Meanwhile at the end of the day you know omo to abama no hu so so you ask yourself say ye yakasa Ghana for the ababedum pepen so a one ye ni GDA ewo your institutions mu ye ni GDA ewo leadership mu ye ni GDA ewo anything mu every time be a nyina ye corners obi ye corners the right way dey niam no hwe enna me no kase de bi asema me ka kire obi an se so okonku todwe nim na okobon pae na wo sre nyakopon sika ahoden a sre sanso bi o se ma woni state institution bia enya nkitahudie bia
o asemi na obebo fi
osi o ko ba bia akọ require services say police say ministry say government agency say hospital yeah because usika nkwa you are dead like what's some nim share and this is here how can say until recently now when the name say birth set is less than 30 cedis until recently now when the name say na passport to crown ko akwaje crown na ne bo e wo form there are so many services I require in this country now ko agency no one now pay information you won't get say utua intakokweti yankasa na ye dia ye ho say etuatua no every point bia ntia ya ba beji ye ho atum say at every point no when tua won ko into etua ma we na we agiwe the corruption no ya ba beti ase mimi tell say at a point na me amabusuafo no me namfofo bi ebi obi timi hia me ye ko program or share me modest lifestyle na me yo na obi sa me say na nti wo de ko politics that day until they be say yeah so they expect to say the moment I will enter in it I will TV so and as at the end of the day they say we are sorted also because there's something there. Meanwhile that place is rather supposed to be a services a serving what I say it's mindset no dem see nyina na say collectively they condemn here because baba jama dey we there onuna one manage issue ni because I don't let me but for him to come out journalist say bisau after all at least you can feign ignorance you can pretend to say you don't at the end the cause but for you to come and face the bullet now unjira onu mga say na heading now kasa someone it means that Onwakasa na shooting himself in the foot into me president in the call the party no for me some people have said say
the challenges are also and I hope say we'll be able to find a lasting solution able to address these challenges and navigate but yeah if you stretch the conversation a little bit now we say cocoa board an institution a juma say Ghana cocoa ye dua nyina no yen konkoto na yen konkoton na yen fasika no bi emetu akuafo no ka na yen so yen fa bi more mine ho bra no e be ba ne sen and at that institution will quickly transform from your friend is saying profit making entity into a sort of a debt producing machine because cocoa board is one a debt machine they see her a car and they produce and for me it's very embarrassing and no now but decisions are caused in recent times kwabrane a body team at the institution now here because we live in a country where punitive sanctions need those kind of way you are relegated to the background so anybody I'll be your opportunity to be in power and things I can just do anything and get away with it. NPP have listened to a lot of the guys in there farming areas farmers and seeking to incite them say but that is not what the situation is. The fact of the matter is cocoa board na nkasa ya yabureka gusu and some of the kwanya e kana e fa so buy no mind boggling you understand and sometimes I blame the current cocoa board say you see whenever you inherit an entity or we are finally saying and a situation like this let the people know I can't say governance and yabosom so what's your sam so wa oda ache na ate so because when problem back, I think I will try to tell people the state and nobody will take you serious. You understand? I sat here some time ago and attempted to open some of the way to you, because that is what you need to governance and open it up, let people know the state of because John Mahama promised to pay cocoa farmers 70% of the FOB price, and indeed he paid. But the only unfortunate thing is dollar no nam set bar for mintino, the money and not as a farmers of Monsakano, they couldn't, because that is the exchange your friends a great problem. I wasn't the president, but the promise that he made is obetia cocoa farmers 70% of the FOB price, he kept that particular promise. But anam said na dollar no aswati aba for mintino cocoa farmers can and komunya around 6,000, they couldn't get because of the exchange rate. And it is a lie for LB. Better be aka say promise no make you the promise has been and dollar no swati aba for no cocoa farmer no enya sika kese dey, but are compensating the other side. And then look at the economy and I try to stabilize, and it's a woje sikana wanya, even though said that now we expect to be cost no wanya na it will compensate for these things. But kwabrane chire and na to go among for say sikana almost almost 70,000. Sa 70,000 the whole FOB price, sa buying time ni na the farmers kwa enu 7,000 because of the exchange rate. So it is highly hypocritical. And again, answer na buying back on na sa jute sack na se for no. Yeah, there a big report to clear ko clear. Kwabrani sign contract e ko pia bebrebe gum some of the sack na ye be here no. Maybe in the next 5-6 we kwa no
15 years old.
Exactly. But kwabrani tena sign contract cocoa board no dey come e ba modern e ko sign sa contract no e ko to buy. I know that they are morning I'm here, and today they are emboldened to be doing press conference. And again, 2016 John Mahama Babakono. Yeah. Na cocoa ni to strive to a point. Eka krebi 2016. Ya fancy 1 million metric tons of cocoa. Yeah. 2024. Abayin no bakono. Na cocoa syndicated loan na yakwakwaje. Say ya de babato cocoa. Na yakwakutu AYEKA no. Syndicated loan na ya deka. It got to a point even cocoa we had to collateralize it. Yakosikam sabe ya ibenye sika. Cocoa board this your friend is saying the documents I had a cocoa loan come friend is saying the credit worthiness and nam so am I cocoa loan every na it was 0. You could not go out there because cocoa now went to over 390-something,000 metric tons of cocoa. You need to pay in the next year. And the funny aspect of it is that next year now say cocoa price in the cost now you are not going to sell at the current price because Nippon went in the car in the last year, so you are going to use the last year price and just such an entity never that. So these are the factual realities to me and pay attention to. Over the years, the financing model of cocoa board I've always criticized it. It doesn't make sense. Sa cocoa syndicate ya kwaji bafuna insi hon ya ba beto cocoa ni ya kwa kutia. So when the NPP in 2022 make that declaration, so free na kono syndicated loan yang kwaji BM, they created an impression say omo other financing model be a sustainable pay, not knowing say a Ghana cocoa board books were so dirty to the sense that and the credit ratings of Ghana at the time there wasn't any single entity from Ghana because you demonstrated say so we lost that particular chance to go to your friend saying for that cocoa syndicated loan. And the papa so are making it look like government has a certain financing model be ever. And then in the mua about changing there need to be a definite discussion as to what financing model will be appropriate for us because early stages are John Mahama taking over now the economy said that so you cannot make and start any conversation to go for any loan at the time because mine and Kasakwana fena over here near mama and son what thinking about loan. So the option of going for those loans now then the cocoa board will have to fall on other people who are ready to provide their money for you to buy the cocoa then ukotonwa na your friend says sikana ya who say the BCI no but private person or not in the sika amount that money and like ade friend guarantee other sources of wey the amount and you no sikana the amount or share the prevailing your friends a market price and that promise of farmers he doesn't care because he's a business person you understand and sikana buy akwa what the top price no back at you say and cocoa no eswati before I buy taking over, I buy taking over early stages, now it was around 5,000 metric tons. $5,000 per ton, per ton, and then I dip it almost by your friends $100,000, about 4,000. 4,000, you know, what you can set it price, price, you know, on the previous 5,000. Cocoa farm, and you cannot go to a cocoa farm and tell them matter price, and so that can never happen in this country because it will be politically suicidal. So a buyer will have to find any other alternative aside reducing the cocoa price, because the very moment you go say, oh, I want to that is suicidal. You know, say politically it is very dangerous to make that decision. And the question is, how do you come up with the way the financing gap will be addressed? And this is the challenge. In some of my country, when you know, say, and yet deliberate say, obiti cocoa board and net, when the abbe what taking certain reckless decision, idea baby do and net. A systemic, and no ababedu and catch up with us. So going forward, you know, I think what we need to discuss is the appropriate financing model. Either say about domestic or external. Now you're making sure say cocoa board no. Say, you know, and a very secure source of funding going forward. This is how we want to do it. And again, cannot just walk free. And because people sat our ECG did the same thing. Okay, cables and nasa for them. Every night a bin in them sawamni nasa for them. Quite first why or mine. Sometimes what's in China as a young person, I will hear the rate they can near my first or you feel so embarrassed and ask yourself, and your my way, obiti baby or dream my home. Because you can't be doing these things. Abani a loose power and TNC sign contract, yen to talk to Tonema, and the sad aspect in the same. Sanya maninya medru kwa na yetu ani pani nyina aka dada because ye one hwe one juice ka on bomb farm. So our mind cannot be running on this particular line. So for me, I think that it's sad that this thing cocoa board is going through this way, but I think that now that the president has taken keen interest in it, you know, I hope that we'll be able to navigate our way through. Now sir and some na nkofo na me nkurase omutu ntrogu cocoa farmers assume say obi na akoboka na obi na yese no obi ya yese no nnokwa bi anim nipo modi cocoa board eka a dream ni na for the same person because entity no you hand it over to them no now it has a positive we have say equity about the sign I will hand it over no then you are run over about 2.something billion in terms of negative equity, and the same person today have the moral audacity running from farmers telling them say abandon afa musika sika be na abandon fa when they are privy to the prevailing way your friend is saying the market. And again, and I'm say over the years yenye nema yentino cocoa na ye produce any Cote d'Ivoire no, we are not the people who even determine the price. Isn't it shameful? Ye produce a raw material no, and because we are unable to add value. Nipa na oko add value no will determine the price. It doesn't make sense. So we must also be looking at value addition. Kwa ebe faso cocoa no you ever turn it into a finished product. So you send your product now, and then there is a price tag. In your one over inside, but also one raw now the car on the decoy BB or the factory. So on the bed the price and amount. So we must also be looking at some of these things. Cocoa board the car to the sense now one of the entities is CMB or one of the cocoa marketing way. Now you're torn a Japan your body don't call me because PBC. Yes. I'm a brand to be candy and not happy with you. Your power man that
was last week.
Yes, the gentleman. And these jokers today are out there making loud noise about cocoa board. Yeah, PBC no. Yes, a son and near man a car and as a phone you be good where I auction because a car on the entity agu. Cocoa board the same thing. You
could be sad Dr. Baubia will meet the press or also on your way say cocoa board you go.
Oh yo. So yeah, these are the factual realities. So I think government should find a way. Yeah, Abayamawa, I understand, say you don't need to be blamed, but I think the story must also be told. Exactly. Because these people are out there deceiving farmers and telling them, say, Sikana, Obukraka say, as I'm coming 60 million. How is it possible? The FOB price at the time and the cost require 5,000. 5,000 no convert here, saying, how can you pay way? But the fact is that dollar na swate the bank kept its promise by making sure that the 70% of the FOB price will be paid, but dollar depreciation it has gone to the other side. You understand?
So dollar no so a depreciation side and
that is the level of intellectual dishonesty slot into our politics. Some of these guys because I'm one of the negative politics. Yan say nipa and they are the best when it comes to some of these things. But the things they are accusing people of, almost setting the board emotion, everything that has happened. Since when everybody cocoa, a bank will have to pre-finance. Your friends say kofa cocoa wukwa kupiaka wunjisika what you do and you did all these things in the Allah yeah it's funny.
Ahomete Osho rollover contractor we cocoa board and Nkasa document kwa mfa so nya de me kwa namnim o say total rollover contract of 333,768 metric tons worth at 2,661 per ton into total delivered 235,395 metric tons using 2024-2025 production purchase at producer price of $3,100 per ton. Now, I don't know. So
you see, said there is a financing gap now.
There's a financing gap. So you say, yeah, $103 million. Send a bet me a gap now about it.
Yes, and my culture said price in water so it's not an option.
Yeah.
So it means that is why the president has come in. You need to find a way.
Yeah, because to go and look for money.
Yes, a customer will benefit here, but from so you should. So
yeah.
that is how. But I think that cocoa board now structurally, you know, we need to just set it up properly.
Yeah.
And some of the institutional laxity, you know, is high. I think that there must be certain stringent measures.
Conditions of service so you
oh, now can I want to say you too big way that. Yeah, I think that you see, state own enterprises, you know, over the years, and there are two teams. Oh, they are not entities. They run a profits. But can we say they are entities? They run for a loss. So most of them have become debt-producing machines. And on mobile mine car, Bank of Ghana to meet Kroma for the first time to move over 60 billion. What to be that? ECG Airboka. Your friends saying almost all the entities Airboka. But these are people who are paid well. CEO, he's paid even better than the president and MPs.
Yeah.
For them. Your friends are fact allowances but they are all running debt. Yes, we can understand that some of the rule, no, but we cannot always be accepting. No. That human indiscretions, those kind of stuff.
Divine. Cocoa board assembly.
When cocoa board assembly, I assemble here, and when you put it, if you put it into a historical perspective, we say cocoa for ni cocoa board in some na dia obetumi atuna jeje mu and also obe handle no ebia la keke because we check here history fiti Kwame Nkrumah pencil even pre-colonial times no any post besinda who say yen budget and yen GDP ni yen bibia no we acquire for cocoa contribution from your economy never crashing and that's a big collapse.
Sure.
Contribution no very very significant would mean relegate you.
Yeah.
And it had to say acquire for no only year or contract. Do you know say almost can you training say co school.
Yeah.
Na fa onim de no be manage ye na nanom adwe na we ache no no say co school. Na fa onim de no ebra ebeboa na ye manage ye. Ye mum no mde akọ school no ye nyansa na ye nyaye no ye mum ye di wiom ye de bomb kro no e mismanage yom and that's quite unfair. She cocoa board literally practically like crumbling on its knees out to say or you have challenges. Why how did we get here?
Yeah.
It's because say nipa cheda bonitrimu pose omu placing the interest of the ordinary farmer no e was so e no mu ankasa because how come say ekayefo no omu ko efuom omu ko nwuram ekodo e de enuaye ba na oman no timidi kwaje bosia o e wo mudin mu omu suma mu yoba mu kra mu de kwaje hu sika e je ho faso na eba na we see utumi nya musika e fa mom it's because of how ya manage institution hwe ukokai Auditor General's report 2023 dia ya wo mu ni say unim say administrative overhead costs nkwa ebro the entire sika no mu tua cocoa farmers for ka na o hwe omo breakdown one you can see say crofo just wicked say omo call for monitoring no hwe omo call monitoring say o your take mu no aba wafuom na esi o ye behwe na ye hwe say o ko hwe budget ya assign ya omo de call rounder more than half of producers for can cause that particular unit office monitoring. Meanwhile, near see Jessica and Ventura. Even when there was an embargo placed on recruitment, say no, your budget no, I tight. Until at this point, no, my recruitment, me and you say. That was when now last minute.
Yes, and it's true. Quickly, I think that there's overstaffed cocoa board. No, workers no over 100,000.
Yeah, and somebody was saying, say he was met with say,
you're packing it.
Yeah, you're packing, and I said, okay, you'll be at this. Yes.
Payroll so crampa ye nimba any office mom ye ni baby mom ye ni baby adwuma mo ye and ye recruit and it's cut across na Ivan Kyei scholarship secretariat e ka amagina to and na me no ka say omanga na hia suehunu bi wo advanced artificial intelligence man bi munti no we need to go and expand UK ye de ka UK amasese yi ye ntumi how did we get here? In 2022-2023, the Minister of Finance wrote to the Secretariat, Scholarship Secretariat, said no, pause. Sankrofona mo position mo ni na me yen hwe how you be reconcile in financial na make sure say omo sikasam ye betua biansa. Unim say that sorry ye no kwabra ni 2024 no kra na ya ma no warning kra no 2023 e ho kra no sa so di nipa e konkumu na dia ya ne say okobrani ani oba atwempena nimpna oni oba na twi keke ni nti no obekọ no oba na busua ni nyina line ni nyina obi agu UK enya scholarship and it's not even based on merit. Sadi we cut across ye di e unbone mi kokofo no. I'm not going to say me ni aban enya aduana say ebia bebia state na aban ehunu no a I to say why handicap quite handicapped no may sympathize with aban but me there I'm on the side of the farmers. The farmers no na me there me ni omo edwene because e kokokokoko ba ye didi no mo akomo di omo what I say ye bo abro say ya na sankofo ne tete ho ye bo abro say ya na sankofo ne to hwe ECG. Could you imagine say okabrani o me ni maji o nipa ne trim na o say or procure stationery stationery or procure in advance of 30 years.
Yes, niama no obode ba no
photocopy paper wa 30 years
wa madam
people to say photocopy paper and niama ya de be say no order aba begu honum da no tie rande abi jute sacks ya order containers ya to be clear ya san so order etua in advance no kwabda na kofie akoda na yere nchen and yet hande na yesi kokofo no ye nya abotre mom obi eni obenya abotre where we must find money as say ye di kotio mo ka no e say dem sika mom but abai so to me mba no be hwe han e be ka say ye tua sika we are going to find money somewhere until ye tua we mom di sa abone no no makokoda Auditor General's report 2023 biwa sika ye lusu ye through malpractice, corruption and corruption related in Yemen. It was a tune of 25 billion. We didn't say 18.5 is a energy sector and ECG pay. Energy sector 18.5 billion. Now beside say ebane saying nipa na omo running under no mo kwanda no or no say or engage in what's your friend CSR corporate social responsibility akọ onu no ti o ntumi ntua ene ye friends independent power producers ka ontumi ntua osimesika ontumi ye hwe no onu so akokoto motor bikes more than 1,000 because I say order who's a kind of problem in procurement and akoto motor bikes so the kwakoma institution so no ye corporate social responsibility yanka se to untuaka and all this thing nyina yesika sinking into individual pockets. Why are they still there? Imagine say obeko ECG se sia say okwakoto credit wa okita osika obedu esi network ni so ye obi contract every month bi as ye tua ne ka Now still the person is still holding on. Nipa na so na so manage the same contract. You see there be. Meanwhile no okwa services na you say provide them amount for no any ho.
Na no nam ha na meter nyansa yenye hwe kwabrane award meter ye
replace.
Yes, because
Ghana problem no. Procurement. And unim say ya ma sebi nkofo adwen nya adwuma. Da no madam bi ka kire me teacher ni bi o upper west. Oto honum and what letter ko ECDA say omo roof eliki omo hie nsuo omo hie washroom ne yi omo tra mo sanka omo honum a ya the next more than 400 ababegu ono bi say
na konya ram de
na konya de omo de no say o ya order for ministry na de abana mudinka ono so ono request for hwe omo say o njia na ejagu awia ne mu because the contractor mo bi say ko bobo dex na pabegu onum na yentua o kind when people don't even need it who say Ghana has will be pretend say or dream na or ye bibi kakra na it say bi obenya film but when it comes and benefit you mo no mama dream no abo ayi I say adwin fia bo mutrim hwa bibi o kai say ayi nkrofo bi e share that by say obo ba support in health sector abcc cheap compounds na ayi na that time no President John Romani mama first term no ma sign a contract be esenka abanda da no continue minister ne buy no unu say because ye buyer you see ye man kickback ye man hwe bia menu omo ye ya na omo si o yes eba eno kwa ka ma bibi ye sake no all because that o push age omo ko find out no okọ ye say okọ cabinet meeting ko fone to one mo si o zango for project ne dey mi wa ko fone no do musika ba be bibia be from the start mo ya ba hwe itino ye boy ho abra say ye be gin dia solving ko problem a ye di enim dia ne adwe ne nya adwuma na ke tra say hwe okuye ni ye si cocoa contract cocoa road is lego ye cocoa ho it is a cocoa ni a omu ko afuomu you know how omu roads near deplorable now say there be unkosi hospital unkosi health facility mom unyomu kwan yie uba be si cocoa clinic ewo North Kaneshi meanwhile no mo ko afuomu a owo ka omu snake serum no ye freeze because one freeze say o dia ba betu kolebu ne ko bisa se ni pa he no wo ka omu e de omu ba ho 37 they come bush meanwhile bush mo na say you have to think about the farmers and their interests no you careless it no me say sometimes how are we trying to say your boy and one boy treaty and who near boy and work no me say last time you know I was on the observer mission in South Africa in their elections and one of my colleagues from Congo on me no catch him say sometimes boy and one bro because I say politician you can still solve the problem and eat. Exactly. And still let your children attend the best schools or say you will drive the best car and still solve the problem. How come say because me I don't know how I
agree.
It's possible say like me ebi wan go for them near me jam so manage we mama o si o construct obi wa o si down o si o divine obetimi abo am ne yesi hwe e dan ni keke na me hwe na me monitor say yesi o me kwa haba no me fa hwe but me akasa so me sorted in the process.
Yeah.
You also we are minister unya sorted who award the contract who make sure say contract no unya hwe now make sure say wa award the wenye kickback crowd dey but make sure say ade no they are solve na mu dem giwi a na makọ akoda say ye nyina ye fa no enkopem buo how do you treat the state like that me kokobot problem no I am emotional sentimental about it because people suffer ye bre and as you see you know ya nye careful black gold na ye keka na you see you won't say black gold na cocoa na cocoa e so your economy na se no when you give people options people will go for other place other avenues and boa o mine no for instance you see ye nyina nim gold me ni be efi be say see the bia otu a unya bi na crofo be start so me be experiment and unfortunately for us as a country team see let's not pretend. I always say this any policy be national policy be for especially the youth in future no you need addressing what we call the shortfall ibenya wo artisanship mu it would say see no because of a certain culture see enkola young people are more no on pay juma on pay kriayo on pay apprenticeship omo pehwe
quick money
bibia quick because our orientation na ye dey man in Colano at the basic level no say it see obi aye quick na nke ba dey say na isi hairdresser etumi tena on mo no achoro apprentice needed with salary apprentice yes also if apprentice and the salary ka ho that's why we are going they see ahwe unim say we see die obekọ site say 10 people na on 9 enkrofo mo fi neighboring countries Ghana be back because mebu no empe eniama sua omo mpe sa no nyuma ope fast and then no na cause our sector ni mu na yempanyifo no kwohwe the average age na ye enkrofo mo work ayo mu no I'm telling you say in the next 20 years more than 70% any one man one be replace you.
That's it, a big question. All right. Well, the question can say upon a divine atu mu no. Yamene yamboafo. Yehwe Kofi Ofosu Nkansah. And I will say NPP for ko NIB so and a friend say. Be an amamka be an I one no na and I'm releasing no ko search on fe who say almost some ko hu scholarship documents former director be assign there I don't know. So
yeah. I think the gentleman knew what he was saying when he was on the platform, because Nipana now hosting Abochi Minima from Techiman, very experienced journalist, and so we quite fast or querying our platform no so maybe a man for young her video no. He took almost about 5 minutes questioning him.
Yeah.
A man can say ain't say a from pa
to me.
Emma he insisted say yes. Our evidence, because to sit on such a platform and you need smaller platform or baby because of social media
you know.
Now okwajetum say yes minim na ya ton na NPP for kwa na ya ton bi NDC aba ya ton bi. That is a very grave offense allegation to make, because already you know my batna have the documents over about 700 pages abegu ha aba ba kire wo say krono akoso scholarship secretariat a car egu ho asisi amano ka say ya ban here from UK. Omo ban Ghana from Canada and other way you can send students a car egu ho ye run short courses at the man for no mo yire ni omo mpananom ebo eka obi ko UK kodi 4 days for yourself friend top up program and I say yeah short course 4 days with yane per day
na because see odo kosua de ni sabi o ni yire anani kunwe tumi nya kwan ene ni mbu atopenti esi e mani kuna alawa for time ani
ya makwabrane scholarship
wo yini mo
ya makwabrane scholarship ne ya fa ne yere ne maba e 4 de akire na ya kwa o minus ye tua ne yere ne man stipend abra ne ma bi sua de na kwabrane na no ya fa nsai odi ne yere achi a o mo bra bia o ye tua ne stipend no asia tro letter abra scholarship secretary say me ma me awu ye fa nsai Ghana nti no me pese mu ntwa take it ma me hoban me mfa mbra me hwe me na mu nsantia ma me na scholar sika bunti, and then we pay for all this nonsense until already no Ghana for a very incised abanema akoso your friend say scholarship secretariat na no say investigation koso dada, and for you to be boldly on TV to say turn scholarship. And you see, people should look at the interview, how the journalist asked him several questions. I managed to say, indeed, this guy, Obiao, or Obia, why CEO of the
NPP.
Exactly. Ordinary, no. So to make such categorical allegations, no, he knew that definitely he will be called. And you need to lead evidence to justify, say, indeed, Kwaku Tombi, Abana Tombi, Bansabna Okano. You see, now only the Oka and because scholarship were being sold. Or no one because the records in the scholarship secretary, my country say there is a guy of free UK or Ghana. Nimianom, yet on scholarship, more when I'm so back and forth, fake documents and so forth. You're buying the boys in almost 10 years and they cannot travel to UK. And there are a number of people because of that scholarship scandals now air cost because they were using it to do visa racketeering. Yeah, facilitating visa amount. Omunko school no they too kwan. So these criminal things na cause no. Kojo Ofosu Nkansah say hwan no. Oh yeah, where is the reason why according to sources ye call ne dem no. Scholarship award letters egu ni dem. You have saying and no objection egu ne dem no objection ne say Ghana de sika am say kusuan de wie no we na wa letter aba say mentimi ma ba Ghana na be mpesa meka ho nti no am object
yeah, to return to even come and serve. No, so send the stipend now.
Yeah. So it's a fact. It's a scholarship secretary and some now brand time can no correct. And it was business and no more running. So say what? Yeah, probably be providing further details. And what can you should be ready to provide those details. You understand? So this drama around NPP na yako jirani ya yese.
You say the lawyer can say a political arrest.
A political arrest na asam na kwatena radio so kamera meka share na no. So we nim nyansa na kwatena radio so akoka asansem we ya. You should be able to provide evidence. You understand? Yeah, sometimes the excesses of our security agencies wherever here na yatam nipa na ya de ko secret locations a na man de nsebunu an kan twa na meboa. Otam nipa na wo de ko de ba bia. At least the lawyer should be in the know. What I say? Baby, I have a dream. We need to be no. But the fact of the matter is, he has to provide evidence. I bet me because state already providing investigation. And the war in summer what me can answer more and then a course will be ton scholarship. Sasa for Jane ton scholarship the one that my catcher say UK now or under NDC, nobody has been awarded scholarship to go to UK. So in some now, what kind of side we because that admission came from his side. He needed to do that force equivalent. Say, but yeah, I'm for Bajatum say, Obisu Tombi. But that is not the reality. Last year, Nipo Munya scholarship travel outside Ghana were less than 20. Because a car a guhono enyeka keto hefa within the panoko what I say. So I think that scholarship we know the purpose of Kwame Nkrumah de by and nyadwuma biem. Because purpose they say the emerging field that Ghana yen said need personnel or yen form on outside or mo side in there no mo fa me boy and nyɛ saa de biem. Among for your humanities, among for sort of law through your first scholarship secretariat. Che okwe courses among for a year. Sometimes what see na bofuno. And some of these scholarships, stipend and betting I've trained over there 10 people. I will leg on. Then as a point, I didn't know boy bro. So for me, I think that this scholarship, foreign scholarship, we need to restrict it strictly to specific, like this robotics, Internet of Things, AI, those new emerging fields. That is, you cannot give Obi scholarships on quite law. You can't give Obi so on quite humanities and other way. When those things, faculties, we can train those individuals here. So I think that is a lesson for us. Some they came to destroy almost everything. Minimum one sector. And so far, and Akufo-Addo. And now because the leadership will come say, Kwabrane turning the scholarship secretariat, into some kind of a profiteering enterprise. And on it to one scheme. And quickly, I got to Parliament. What I say, and nobody is even questioning anybody. I think that. States, need to sharpen the accountability drive, so that will be brought to justice. And yes, I understand investigation is going on, and it's good the president swiftly responded because over the years, but for the president to hear something on social media to quickly request to say investigation should be conducted, a chance that we are also moving somewhere. You understand? So I think some of these things, in as much as the excesses of the security agencies, as if we might want people to question it, it is in that light to say, as he should be able to provide enough evidence about the investigation. And truly, and some was not speaking. And some documents in his house justifying say whatever going on in the scholarship secretariat, now he was part of it. The reason why he has been able to tell you details. So such a person becomes a person of interest in the ongoing criminal inquiry. So he should be able to provide us details as to how it happened. Quite how fast was scholarship award letter be good them. Quite saying no objection be good them. Any other way charter I want the phone so any other conversation he should be able to provide those details so that it will help government in its quest to unravel the sort of puzzle now also our scholarship secretariat. So for me I think that yes, everybody has the right to speak the way or free security agencies and yes but it cannot rob the main issue on the stage because the journalist asked him almost 7 times and he admitted say yes I can prove. Yes, I can prove. Yes, I can prove. Now, when I be prove, I when I also will come out.
We put them a bonnet tell. The only say only. Sabi you say nya kwenya ne betena TV so microphone we animu a ade say to me di kan ka kire ho ne say ade na ye ka no kore ade bwa nipa ana say nyansa wom on say mate say nkofo ka say senia ebia abaya go about handling the issue I arrest no ye detaining no de keka wonyina no high handed approacher ebia nka abaya nka so yi nani no you see for me I believe say when you get the chance say it as it is but make sure say you are saying the truth. The fact is say opportunity excel be kasa ne say unya asemo enim waka de gu nyonko fi waka tumu aji so no waka but we are saying so na say wundi no kure wo ba ye yes scholarship secretariat asem wo do say si wo bo ka say minim me we evidence betumi approve go and prove it I to say it as see na asem bi abana oh me pese me nka asem bi fa gu hu fi akekọ abra me minim say asem na me kan me ni evidence but ye betimi a me see o na mo so asem kitwa we ameka yi wa bu nipa no fi say asem kitwa o ka yi and you know if you check your back asem ni history most of the time niama ama aban one efeli ye overthrow aban is because of misinformation disinformation and how you peddle falsehood
fake news
ni a peddle ni SEO we osumesi say e ba ko hwehwe mu no na no kure baako say din look at how Kwame Nkrumah dey do no the propaganda ye dey to ne so kwabrade de sasi ne bukutuka ejina general bawa anim woni fie ka kire ne say Kwame Nkrumah the Russians phobi what see tunnel why tunnel from a very say castle Osu castle was why castle Emma tunnel be straight at the babe kunkum soldiers for Bema camper on beda be sorry no and people believed Emma enu ne gina so edi tu Kwame so the soldiers on omo fi Shy Hill omo no fi sunyane 4 ne de keka wunyina aba no omo ba no they were told say crophobia be land Kwame Nkrumah ko no the mercenaries no move Russia na aba it's omo dem ba nyina omo ba be face mercenaries they didn't know say say na they have been lied to in the be use some be operation and the be say kuya asabeti ye nyina ye progress at the end of the day no kre no way na entro media me say yeah politics but yeah honest about the things we tell the public we say and then we should have facts and you say because maybe and then all of a sudden I don't know how this NDC government they are going to manage it but some culture be also ever and it has happened in the past omo form communication you know India grow ommeda ba sore no na ya set agenda no nya funya e dia ma omo na video matomu enne o no mo ma flyer bi
Ghana today sa flyer
no ma na flyer bi no omo de nsam enim to so and nobody is addressing it and akofo bi and our platform bi obi be kotu randiabe not to flyer so and if you look at the text no ye dey atu ni dinase no o be kan bi agbefu. So when I did my background check to find out no asem we pass if Brandy actually said it there then one kasa yi because find out say na kwabrane akuku ade no from o shene dem no akuku no designing no dey akoshe papa no nti me say the fact say Yakopon any nabofo etutu o mobile ni o mobile ni we shouldn't also forget say bonsam so tutu ni ko bi e won chan train the ebesi nti asabai no e dey hihye egu akwa mu se no be solving problems your predicament and challenges no all say crofo so baby they are just waiting for a scandal they are waiting for a mishap they are waiting for something to happen ebegu abanani muase and people are waiting to say all of a sudden you na ekode kotofuela yanji obi a party card and can change say we QR print no ofu no ya teso na ya ton say amount dollar ya corporate na e clear na ma nyina e class Ghanaians but you say some people are just sitting on the fence waiting say dollar no value no e be depreciate against the foreign currency na odi aye campaign or trying say e be ka se fuel akọ 30 cedis no odi age fans say e ka kire mu na ne ma me ni magu ase na ke nyina ya titimu It shouldn't happen like that.
All right.
O my na ba kupe.
Thank you so much, Menda Divine Chromas.
That's fine. Enti abusia enkomodidie no ene ye kwakuti edi aba no. Madika ka chem say Ghana ha. In fact, emrantie no some of them omu ewo politics no. In fact, ebinum adwinum do papa. Debia meka abrantie aye friend Ivan eyobia nani da ho. Ivan yobia wa bin about politics, about theory, about practical. You can see how or an analysis, how he's coming from. Baby, offer send free. Now, baby, it tells you how Ivan Kyei Innocent or a very strategic person when it comes to analysis, full details on politics. You see, that is the most reason why. And this aban we buy for the young energetic ones, the sharp brains, the shako munim sebi enwoma munim how to implement the policies. It is a Sami Jamfi. You can see Sami Jamfi, very energetic youth and very brilliant person. You can see Eric Ajay Nep. What I say, CEO, you can see him a very energetic, strategic politician. You can see what do you call it? Malik Basintale, YEA, and also CEO. You can see this guy is very energetic and brilliant person. And you can mention all of them. Edemagwananum Ketu, MPs. What I say, you see, they are very energetic and strategic. That is why amamowe enyema ekwoyi enkakra although things are not all that good. But you can attest to the fact say hope ewo baby. You can attest to the fact say jidie bi anidaso bi ewo baby. Tedi numba kaye anidaso omo bia. Anidaso ho eden ewo baby edi magane ni bia. We said your masha se mu bu a minor name be a moya. It tells you and a dollar rate I come from flat 11. I cost 11. Say a cocoa issues now, and I'm saying say cocoa issues no. And draw a yemi de president, John Mahama Edina no tum. Now why sure for some problem no and they will solve it. In my own perspective, I can see say Randy Abbey. And fit for cocoa board. See you, Randy Abbey. I know Metro TV or Mukukuru didn't quote now. He doesn't fit for the job. Indeed, he doesn't fit for the job. Me, I'm in my own perspective. Say he doesn't fit for the job. He doesn't fit. Because Mikai say, Brad John Mahama Shah say, or appointed pointing for catching be as a word over any government institution biano. Problem will be to the public. Let the public know. Let the public be aware of it. Say be a problem when I face na chinabino a honko bass man kasa na abang. But a lot of them didn't do, especially the cocoa board. Senko be year press conference. Emma Ghana for whom problem a honum. Na ewi chase and we buy ya. I don't think say Dennis Marcos Abuaji of NPP they will propagandalize. Hey, bro, propagandalized. Wow. And Dennis Marcos Abuaji they will what? They will make it important for. They will benefit. They will make it beneficiary to themselves. They want to gather some cocoa for to protest, to do protest, to demonstrate against this government. And some of them are just ignoring because they don't want that kind of any man. Until no question ni say, Momembo John Mahama Basso say and draw dinner no to ase no nim say obehwe na ayeye. Akuafo ye jimudi dodo. Mon come up mon to muyem. Me, I was once a farmer. I was once a farmer and I will be a farmer again. But dropping my mini papa, farmers, they have worked hard. But It is very painful. So ube dokuya, ubenya koko na ube kona usika amba. Abusia, it's very, very painful. I understand their feelings. This government should sit down and make sure things will get right. Sebi abino image enter. My humble advice. Chira wajno comment section in my crowd, papa.